Here we are with Team iFeed against Team We Need Healing VHS. We're heading straight into the picks and bans here. I'm Spooky Mars, joined on the cast today by none other than the lovely and amazing Lucio Horde. How you doing, Lucio?
I'm doing alright. I'm at least one of those things, and I don't know if lovely's it, but I'll take amazing. I'll let you have lovely. How about that, Spooky?
Alright, the lovely Spooky Mars and the amazing Lucio Horde. I think this is a great pair already. Seen a few pretty common bans taken off the table. Notably, you will see Hoonbots now on the ban, as he has had the latest nerf reverted. So his ultimate is now back to a functional level of gameplay, now scaling down to 90 seconds at max rank, no longer limited to the full 2 minutes. I think that's a pretty smart ban all around. He's a pretty potent jungler, and that ult is absolutely devastating in team fights, so I like seeing that taken off the board. What are your thoughts on it so far?
I mean, you have to, especially depending on your draft identity going in, if you know you want to play gods that don't have CC immunity, you need to get rid of Hoonbots. You just need to get rid of them, because especially, like you said, with that nerf being reverted, he is definitely going to devastate a team fight. Now, they do lock in a Cupid first. Cupid, a good pick. Honestly, kind of a flex pick. Can go in mid, can go in duo. Can work both ways. Good team fight ultimate, the Fields of Love. Good CC, really safe. So, nice first pick here for Blue Team here.
Yeah, I definitely think if you're going to go for one of your carries in the first pick there, if you're going for your, obviously, Hunter role, then I think Cupid's on the board for that. Maybe an Ola run, but definitely one of those two. Obviously, with Freya being banned out, not an option. But I think it's a very strong pickup here. Notably, Kukulkan also banned away, and this one, I believe, is a target ban towards Herb and Cheese, who is fairly well known for his prominent Kukulkan in that solo lane. So a little bit of respect paid towards the enemy team there, and that's something you'd like to see. However, we have a fearsome pair locked in on the other side, Rom and Robin both. And Rom, I would say, is also one of the contenders for the top carry gods. So I definitely like seeing that into the Cupid, but it can be a little bit of a tough matchup, given that Cupid's Heart Bomb will stick on Rom even in the air, and those Fields of Love will cut off his rolling assault there.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Rom and the Cupid. Rom's roll doesn't get him away from a Cupid Heart Bomb, like you mentioned. His ult doesn't get away from a Cupid Heart Bomb. If it does get him away from a Cupid Heart Bomb, a Fields of Love will be waiting on his way down, and then there'll be another Cupid Heart Bomb. Cupid really works against gods that try to be really, really safe, because, again, like, his ult has a cripple in it, so he has to beads if he wants to get away, and that's definitely kind of devastating to a Rom. I also don't necessarily like the Robin pick this early, and the Achilles. If this is what they were going to draft, I'm not sure the Hoonbots was a good ban, because all of these gods really, really play well into Hoonbots, and they play because they all have CC immune ults. They all are relatively safe. They can pull Hoonbots where he doesn't want to be. I mean, Robin gets the CC immunity in his kick. I'm not sure if the Hoonbots was a wordy ban. Now, I could be missing something in terms of that might be a target ban. Maybe there's somebody on this blue team that can actually really utilize that Hoonbots. But they do pick up Yamoja and Vulcan on that side as well. So what do you think about that?
I really like the Yamoja into this Rom. Rom has pretty much no way of getting out of that. If he ults before the River's Rebuke comes out, Yamoja can just lock him in. His roll will not get him through those walls. So could put him in a little bit of a tight spot there. And the same goes with Achilles. No way out of that River's Rebuke if he gets locked in. And additionally, Yamoja can help her team by taking them out of that execute range before Achilles is able to get it off. So I think that's maybe a misstep picking Achilles into that Yamoja.
I mean, Achilles is definitely strong. I think you're right, though. He suffers a lot going into this Yamoja. Now, who's going to... Are we seeing a shot jungle? Is that what we're saying? Is that what we've come to? Is that the life we live now?
Well, it has seen some play in a few other games, so perhaps they are taking this shock into the jungle, trying out for themselves, and seeing how that goes for them, having that 3 tanky front line.
I mean, I can see where it works. I'm just not. I'm not convinced, but maybe they'll make me a believer after this game for sure. I do think that they do have a slightly stronger draft here because again, Yamoja's River's Rebuke gets to cancel out a lot of what Red Team's trying to bring. Disco can't bring out her Apple against River's Rebuke. Again, might not be able to get in position to do his ultimate with River's Rebuke. Fatal Strike doesn't go through the wall. Only Robin and Rom can really interact with that. And then if they get caught in that, Cupid and Vulcan are definitely the Cupid Vulcan shock combo. Absolutely devastating. And I mean, they do have a lot of beads burning. I'll give that. If they are running shock jungle, they do have quite a bit of beads to burn. Because Cerberus ult, shock ult, Cupid ult, Yamoja stuns. It's something that Red Team's going to have to be very, very aware of, even though they do have quite a bit of safety in their picks, all with CC immune ults. Robin with his CC immune ability. But I definitely favor the blue team in this picks and bans. What do you think?
I have to agree with you. I think VHS has drafted a little bit better here, and especially with that Cerberus rounding out the draft. If you don't beads that Cerberus ult, you know you're going to be thrown into some of the other ultimates. I mean, Cerberus ult into a Vulcan ult. Someone's going to die if they don't have their beads up, and it's going to be able to turn a fight pretty heavily in favor of VHS. Not only that, but I think they've drafted better objective secure and just general team fight all around.
I agree. Now, I do think that VHS is going to have to shoot for that mid game if they really want to. They'll kind of lean into it because the Guardians aren't going to scale very well into that late game. Server's notorious for not scaling well. I mean, Yamoja will always have buttons to press, so that always helps. Shock also doesn't scale super well into that late game, so it's something they need to worry about because Disco's passive being put onto somebody, like Rom, for example, means that they're going to be outputting a lot of damage. And so it's definitely going to be priority number one is to knock out Rom from a fight. Because outside of that, their damage kind of falls off. I mean, Disco's still going to be doing damage, but she still has to connect with Strike. Rom just has to hit left click.
Yeah. Now, from what I've seen of this team, iFeed, I would kind of expect the Discordia passive to mostly be affecting this Robin. Shadow Demon has shown a lot of aggression in this early game. I think it's going to make a lot of good use out of this Robin. And he's shown that he's very capable of getting into position, into the backline of the enemy team. And if they don't full turn, he's capable of just burning through them very quickly. So they're definitely going to have to watch out for him. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if he gets an early lead with the Discordia passive and just starts running amok with it.
That is true. Vulcan not going to be in the best of places once Robin gets his kit online. Because Vulcan doesn't have a lot of ways of getting out of Robin stuff. The only thing that Vulcan can hope for is that he outputs enough damage to basically say, if you come at me, I kill you. And if you die, that's bad, you know. That's the type of thing you have to look out for.
Yes, indeed. If one person dies, then the other survives, and that's not good for the person that died. Now we will be hopping straight into the game here. And you've heard it from us, who we prefer in this draft, but why don't you let us know yourselves what you think as we start heading straight into the game here. We'll get some builds online, and I expect pretty standard starts all around. I don't think we'll see anything fancy like a 5-man invade on the yellow buff, as I may or may not have experienced earlier today.
It happens. Oh, man. It happens.
And now the Tobias special will take us on a little bit of a trip through the Conquest map. Now,
I love my 2D rocks. I love my 2D rocks.
Love them while you can, because this map will be changing in Season 8. How much? We don't know yet, but it is something to keep an eye out for. now Robin has connected to the game, and these builds will be showing up now. And indeed, it is going to be Shock going into the jungle as we see him picking up that Assassin's Blessing, and then he picks up a tier 1 of the Morning Star there. Not
shocking, I know.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
you do well.
I needed to put it out there. But definitely the tier one trans, or I really don't know what he would. I guess he could go trans or Heartseeker. Heartseeker definitely you're gonna look for a much later spike, and then trans. I'm just not sure how you're gonna stack it in the jungle. I mean, if you get kills, I guess you stack it.
Yeah, that's definitely a kind of a feast or famine approach to it, though, and I suppose we'll see just how much he's going to be in lanes and rotating around to get this farm and these stacks that he's looking for, because I would assume it's going to be a Transcendence. That's what I normally see these tier 1s going into in the jungle, but I mean, I wasn't expecting the Shock jungle, so maybe I shouldn't be expecting this Transcendence either.
I mean, they could go into a Heartseeker early on, and if they go for an early Heartseeker, that is quite potent. Now, Gev is going to get hit by that Heart Bomb. Going to get that stun. That's a nice use of the stun there. But, no, going to that Heartseeker early on does kind of really screw over iFeed in the sense that they're not going to have that many protections online, and Heartseeker's just going to chunk. It's going to chunk. Even if they do have a little bit of protection, that 10% protection shred's pretty good.
And now you see that Robin has already gotten a slight lead in the jungle. He's already taken both speed, blue, back harpies, and mid harpies. He's now level 2 already as he heads in there. Now we also see the pressure in the dual lane lean a little bit towards iFeed's favor, which may be a little surprising given the amount of abilities and damage that VHS is able to put out with their duo lane here, but nothing too much happening off of it yet, as it's Yemoja and Cupid. They've got quite a bit of sustain to keep themselves healthy here.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, you're looking at VHS, and yeah, Cupid should be out clearing later on, but his first few levels are kind of tough, especially before he gets an item, because his Heart Bombs won't be doing that much damage. He's not going to be clearing that much, and Geb does provide that knockup with his ability, and so it does make it harder for VHS to actually get that lane pressure that you would expect.
There's a little bit of hope coming from Vulcan here in this mid lane, but here's Robin rotating back in. Still a level up on the Shock, who is quite far away from mid, only just now rotating back in. Geb rolling around, trying to look for this Yemoja. Does find the knockup, but doesn't find the double knockup, but not too much more happening there. And Cupid Heart Bomb, or Hearts, will be dropped for Yemoja to sustain back up.
Yeah, he's sharing the love, yeah. Okay. Not the bombs.
Peace,
not war. Peace, not war. Now we are looking at another rollout. That's good. That was a good rollout. You know, getting a lot of poke onto the Cupid early on is pretty good. But it's like you mentioned earlier, the sustain here is going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, and unfortunately that knockup did not connect. The Shockwave was just a little off the mark, and that did allow Cupid to just rotate back to his Yemoja and get back to safety. Now both sides just gonna split back to their purple buffs there, secure those, make sure no fancy invades come out from this Shock jungle. As he is now trying to catch back up to this Robin, taking his back camp, but it's looking like he's having a little bit of trouble. His clear just isn't quite there. He's still about a level down. Robin's now taking this red buff, and he's just ahead of the rotations right now. Cerberus soloing the blue buff, taking quite a bit of damage here, and still soloing it. You'd think with 3 heads he'd be able to like triple or cut the time it takes by 3.
Each one of those heads only does 11 damage. That's 33 damage per basic on that serve. That man ain't going through nothing.
Buff my boy. Each head should do just massive amounts of damage. 33 damage for each head. Bam, bam,
each head should apply DOT. There you go.
Right, there you go. It's a bleed.
Elegant.
It's a rabid dog. Good stun.
Nice
on bomb. Followed by a heart bomb. Slaughter goes in. Shield comes out. Beads also pop. There's the magic shell, and then Shockwave does peel off Umoja and Cupid. And Rom gets to keep his life today. No first blood just yet.
Yeah, but he didn't keep those beads. He didn't keep that shell. I mean, that's a lot of resources spent with very minimal effort on the side of VHS. Like, they're full health, full mana, slash Omi, I guess. But otherwise, you know, they really didn't expend much to get that. And now Rom's gonna miss out on partial wave.
Yeah, that was excellent play from VHS, and I suppose we should have expected this healing duo lane just from the name alone, but some things only become clear in retrospect there, and you see the advantage it gives. They're still able to stay in that lane, just continuously clearing. However, Rom does come back with the tier 2 of Dev Gloves, and so he's going to have a slight edge over Cupid, who has not returned to base just yet at all.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, kind of like as somebody who plays Cupid, usually I wait until I have all the gold I need to buy Trans. It feels bad to go back before you can finish out Transcendence, and then come back and have to back again. It's all about being as efficient as you can in that lane. Now that's a good ultimate. Now Cupid's in trouble. Cupid does drop Fields of Love. Astral Barrage is coming out. Connects all three. Vile Artist will bring down Mr. Dratum. And that's just the first kill right here in favor of iFeed.
That was excellent play from the duo lane of iFeed there. Great Cataclysm into a great Rom ult. The Astral Barrage was just on the mark with each and every shot. He tried to get out, but he was just not able to find an exit, and it cleaned up very nicely.
Yeah, that was just unfortunate there that Cupid didn't put on his dancing shoes on and able to avoid all three of those shots. But that's also really good aiming on the part of Vile Artist.
And now we see there's a 2-level lead in the jungle now as Robin continues to just gain XP over Shock, who has now gotten it to only 1, but it's a telling story because it was 1 level before that he was able to even up to even, but then it became 2 levels into a 1-level deficit. So this XP gap is just continuing to grow in the jungle. Ooh, big ult comes out from Cerberus. Stygian Torment comes down, but Fatal Strike gets a kill. He's right back out. Now the breath continues the damage. He's looking for more. Does not find the stun, though, and that will be the end of that slap fight, at least for now.
Yeah, he just got the spit, not the paralyzing.
Ooh, here's a rollout coming in from Gev, finding Emoja, but not quite connecting. However, Discordia is here looking for an apple. That is connect, and that's a big Cataclysm. Here is Shock coming through as well. Umoja does find her way out after burning the River's Rebuke. And now Shock will also be able to keep his life as Rob is not able to put too much pressure down. And it's a few ultimates used, but no kill in the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, and that's honestly, I'm not even sure if you dedicate that many resources towards a Guardian either. Like, I don't know if it's just worth it at that point, because Umoja will always have buttons. That's one of the things about, like, killing Umoja. You don't get anything now. Here, the Shock is getting aggressive on, has to bring down the ultimate. Robin does not connect on his ultimate, but will connect on a few basics to bring down the kill. Moonstrike will come in. Now she's going in for some Mending Waters. Another Moonstrike connects on that Robin. Vulcan's a little bit too far, does not connect with the meatball. Will get shot back the mid lane by the Geb.
Great plays again from iFeed. They don't manage to secure that blue buff. Chuck was able to get that for his team, but it turns out it costs him his life there, and pretty much nothing on the side of iFeed. We did see Shadow Demon use his ultimate, but that was in return for Shock ultimate, who also gave up his life. And that was pretty much it. That was the only resource they actually spent on that kill.
Now, iFeed is going ahead and starting to take this early lead, as you pointed out. Rom already has a kill. Robin has a kill, which if you want anybody to have a kill on that, those are the two that you want to have that kill. So, iFeed now needs to catapult this into actual objective pressure, because so far, they have only about 1k and a gold lead, and that's not enough. That's not really significant at this point in the game. at least not enough that it's something that VHS really needs to be worried about. They can still wait out for this little bit of a late game.
And now Shock's coming in, maybe looking for a gank there, but not able to find anything as they just retreat back under that tier 1 tower. Paralyzing Spit does connect onto Achilles this time, but just to stop a back. And both teams just kind of dancing at each other right now, neither really willing to commit to anything just yet, while the other is still in view.
Yeah, I think at this point, iFeed might be a little bit more resourceful in their use of their ultimates, because again, they've dropped down a lot of ultimates for almost kills, but almost doesn't get you there in Smite. You know, unless you're actually pressuring them out of lane, and you're making sure that you get a free tower, or you're converting that somewhere. Well, you really do need to make sure that if you're going to drop that many resources, you're looking for something. As for Mirage does come out, all but one connect. Yeah.
Robin is feeling it. Though. Fields of Love come down. Robin jumps over. Backflip is good. Not finding the root, but Cupid is right there on him, fighting in melee range. A Violard is now going to pick up that kill between the two towers. River's Rebuke comes in, looking now for Shadow Demon. Bouncing Bobble does not connect onto him, but here is Geb. Now the attention is turned to Rom. However, he's going to roll an assault away out of the range of Vulcan ult, and they are getting out of this one for free. However, Shock is still fighting over here, looking for this Robin, but Discordia is here to help out. Now he's the one taking damage. Apple does not connect, actually bounces back towards Discordia, trying to return to her to refund that cooldown, but it doesn't work like that. Shock will escape with his life.
That's just lack of target priority there. You had Vulcan using his ultimate on the Rom. You had Shock trying to taste Robin. You need to coordinate there on who you're going after, and you're getting tailed by Geb the entire time. So you know you're on something of a clock there, because you got to make something happen before Geb gets in the right position to Cataclysm, and then you're in a worse position. So definitely one of those things that you have to be very careful about. And so they weren't able to capitalize on the fact that they rotated. This is also not the benefit of... Now, that's a nice sticky in term. It throws Achilles towards the tower. But Geb and Achilles are there. I'm not sure if there's much Cerberus can do. Now he jumps in.
Willing to do it.
That's a Cataclysm comes out. And now Robin is here. And that's going to be a fatal strike to execute him. And, yeah. Oof. Part of being in solo is knowing what fights to take in a 2v1 as Cerberus. It might be a fight you take, but it's not a fight you leap into. Because that's your only way of getting out. That's it. Now here, iFeed's going to go ahead and do a 3-man rotation straight into mid. Apple does connect here. Does spread, but not going to do nearly enough damage. Yamoja still alive. At about a quarter-ish health. Can stay around. But going back to the Shock... going back, I was going to talk about the Shock, about how what's really happening here is that Robin is able to out-rotate the Shock. Shock is always about 5 to 10 seconds too late. And he can't do anything at that point. And Robin's just like, haha, I got the kill, bye-bye-bye. And he just walks away, or he got the assist. At the very least, he got the pressure, and Shock isn't really doing much in terms of relieving that right now. So, right now, not feeling the Shock pick.
Yeah, and it shows, too. He's now 2 levels down on the Robin fully. Level 9 to level 11. We see he's still just finished his boots. Robin is already working on his 3rd item, which is clearly going to be the Arendite. Picking up the Honed Edge already there. And another thing is that I like, iFeed already has 2 anti-heal items online. They know they're going to need this for the draft that VHS has, and they're ready with it. They are make sure they pick it up first, but Vulcan in some trouble here. Big damage going on to him. River's Rebuke comes down to cut off the aggression from Discordia, and it does succeed in that. Vulcan ult does connect on Discordia, but not quite enough damage to find the kill just yet. However, I'm not sure he's out of danger just yet, as Achilles has now rotated in, and Yamoja now being caught by the big Strife and Herb, and she's gonna find that kill. Mega Dinosaur going down.
I was just, and now I feel like I'm about to be kind of like a coin flip, man. I'm going to have 2 sides of the same coin. That was such a great Yamoja play with the River's Rebuke. Saved that Vulcan, but then such a bad Yamoja play. To stay in lane, in the middle of the lane. Your only real good escape, and not even good escape, I'll just say escape, and question mark. is gonna be that Riptide. That is not. You don't get the chance to do that against a Robin jungle. You don't get the chance to do that against a Strike. Like that. Two sides of the same coin. Again, beautiful Rivers Rebuke. Probably one of the best ones I've seen in the league currently in terms of saving somebody's life. But also just a terrible play to follow that up and giving them another kill.
Yeah, just a little bit sloppy there. I've got to agree. Just wasn't aware of what was happening. However, on the other side of the map, Vile Artist picking up a solo kill on to Mr. Dr. Adam. And that's going to put Rom at 3-0. He now has a full Atalanta's bow online with fully stacked Devourer's gauntlets. Cupid's still working on finishing his Transcendent stack, so he's only about 2 away right now. But here's the Gold Fury, now being started by iFeed. VHS trying to contest. Shockhammer comes down, but Herb and Cheese finally killed onto start in 1995. VHS does manage to steal the Gold Fury away. Nicely done from Shock. But now the aggression is on, and what will it cost them? It looks like it's going to cost them their lives. Shock ult comes out big, knock up in silence. Rivers Rebuke comes down to try to peel, but Shadow Demon isn't having any of it. He's going to cut right through it. He doesn't care about that at all. However, Cerberus has managed to find their own way out of this fight. Man Hernandez will live to fight another day, and Mega Dino Sir doesn't give up any more than the ultimate trying to get Shock out of there.
Yeah, I mean, that was just unfortunate. If Yamoja was able to, if Yamoja had a little bit more time, I think that Mega Dinosaur could have actually positioned the Rivers Rebuke in such a way that would actually block out iFeed, but that wasn't what happened. Good call by iFeed to go ahead and straight onto the Gold Fury, but they did the terrible thing of basically saying, we're going to ignore Shock. Man, look, if Shock's going to throw out his hammer, you best believe he's going to teleport to the hammer. And if he teleports to the hammer, he could have ulted right there to also secure it. So you can't just ignore Shock. You have to put somebody on him. And that's just one of those things that if you don't have enough zones. Now, talking about ultimate, that was a perfect ultimate by Starter here in 1995 to secure a kill for VHS, the first one on their team. Specifically on Robin, so that is going to have a little bit of shutdown goal. Now, Vulcan getting a little bit more aggressive, throws down the turret, throws down a meatball, puts down some more damage, says, hey, look, I'm not scared. I make the spaghetti, and you are the pasta.
I'm actually a little bit surprised we didn't see Herb and Cheese just commit onto Vulcan right there. He had Geb right beside him ready to help out, and Vulcan stepped way out of position. He had no backup there at all. If they decided to go in and just take him out, that was just a dead Vulcan.
Sometimes it's like poker. You know, you have that bluff. You look at them straight in the eye, and you're like, "Yeah, I got that royal flush," and you're sitting there with cards that aren't even in the deck. And it's kind of like that situation. Like you as the opponent don't have the knowledge of whether or not their team is there. They don't have the ward coverage to tell that, so it's definitely something that's a risk. Now, this tier 1 will go down on the solo lane. So currently, 2 tier 1s, 1 for each team here, have been taken.
The Totem of Ku still not taken by the solo laner just yet over there. Keeping it at just that right amount. However, now it's Achilles who's going to go rotate onto that totem and start taking it for his team, and he does indeed get it. That's a big advantage for his team. But here's Rivers Rebuke coming down. Yamoja locked down. Here comes the Shock Axe and the Vulcan ult, but neither are going to connect. Achilles is rotated over. Shock ult comes down. That's a storm call if I ever seen one. Now Robin is on top of Shock looking for Yamoja, but now looking for Vulcan as he comes down with the ultimate. Vulcan still running for his life. Immunes perfectly to find the kill onto Starter. And now the aggression really on Shock in a lot of danger. Urban Cheese finding an execute, finding 2 executes under the tier 2 tower, and that's a rampage and 3 kills for iFeed. And now Cerberus might be in some trouble, caught between 3 members, trying to jump out, but Robin is still on the chase. And here's Urban Cheese ready to find another kill to his repertoire here. They are putting some good damage out. He's about half health, and now Geb is just going right on in, but the attention is now being turned towards this tier 2 tower. They are wanting to focus on these objectives more than the kills. Cerberus does jump in, does find the kill on the bargain price, but the tier 2 goes down. Now Urban Cheese is finding that kill he was searching for, 6-0 currently, and that is just a huge swing in favor of iFeed on the map.
Well, it's not, believe it or not, there's only one reason that wasn't a huge swing, and that's only because Cupid was able to take out tier 1s and tier 2s by himself in solo farm. The entirety of that fight. Now, it definitely still is very much an iFeed's favor, but as you can see in the graph, it's not like what you would expect as a complete dip into their, like a snowball, essentially. But that's because, you know, as an ADC, there's only so much you can do sometimes, especially when you're behind. So your job is just to sit there and basically like, okay, if you want to rotate out, that's great. I'm going to go ahead and push at your Phoenix at 19 minutes in by myself. Yeah, it's just that's the situation. And like the team fight itself, I don't know what VHS was doing as a whole. They looked like they couldn't communicate on whether or not to retreat. And when they did communicate on the retreat, they didn't communicate on how. Then they didn't communicate when they were trying to fight on who they were trying to fight. So, you know, Herb and Cheese was able to take full advantage of that and just pick them off one by one. And Cerberus was really late to that rotation as well.
Yeah, now Cerberus taking the blue buff as this tier 1 is being pressured. Does have to use the jump over the wall. Now Stinging Torment comes out as the River's Rebuke comes down. But I do believe this tower is going to fall nonetheless, as this was a very late rotation. And the fight is continuing as Chuck does manage to rotate over. Big Cataclysm will catch him out though. And now the aggression is going to be called off as iFeed is backing up. Now it's about a 3k gold lead, expanded from that 2500 we just saw. But really, I think the big thing is the XP differentials between these teams. There is a lead for iFeed everywhere on this map. They're about 7,000 XP in the lead, and now they're seeing a 5-man rotation. Good route by Robin there. Shockwave comes down, and that is going to be a dead Vulcan. And now they're going to rotate over to this Oni, it looks like. Or they're going to maybe look for a red buff invade first, which, unfortunately for them, is not quite there. Kev just gonna knock Dinosaur a little bit further away from this defense as the rest of his team is rotating onto that Oni. Does manage to secure it. No steal for VHS today. And
I mean,
got it off.
I don't know. Again, like, I'm just gonna flat out say I'm not sure exactly what VHS's game plan is right now. Like, why is Vulcan pushed up that far in mid lane, knowing that there is just a gank in right lane, not having ward coverage to know if they're coming to his lane, and being Vulcan, right? It's those types of plays that lose you games. You got to know where you are and why you are there, right? And there was no reason for Vulcan to be where he was, which is essentially where the Cerberus is right now, by himself. After there was a fight in right lane, because you know the next objective that they're going to go for is going to be the Fury, which means that they're going to rotate towards the left lane through the mid lane. That puts you in a very awkward position as Vulcan. You're probably going to die there. And we've seen that iFeed basically has this mentality of, if there's not 3 of us rotating to a fight, we're not fighting.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much sums it up. I think it is important to note that VHS does have, I believe, 2 subs on the team currently. And that may be causing part of the problem. But we do see this tower going down. Cupid maybe fluttering away a little bit late there, as now we see some aggression being turned on to him. Astralus Barrage does come down. Fields of Love and Aegis are used, but here's the fatal strike to get Achilles out of that tower. But now the aggression is still being turned. Robin finding himself a kill as Urban Cheese does take out Mr. Dr. Adam, but the mid lane fight continues. Apple comes out onto Cerberus. That's big damage, and an actual lemur is going to kill an actual 3-headed dog today. And now Shock will also fall to Shadow Demon. That will complete the Dia side. And now the attention will be turned to this mid lane Phoenix by 3 members, as 2 continue to take down that tier 2. Very low will have to recall, but they still have time. They might still be making a Fire Giant call, as they are backing off of this Phoenix and heading towards that right side.
I agree with you in the sentiment that if there are subs, it does mess with the coordination of the team. But I'm curious to see if one of the subs are actually their shot caller, because that's what it looks like VHS is missing right now. It's somebody who's, you know, making the calls, taking the shots that they need to, and coordinating the team around objectives, around team fights. Because how do you have 2 on Cupid, and it's a 1v2, and you still lose the fight in mid lane? And not only lose it, you get wiped. And I mean, again, like, I think that in game 2, this is like a good game 1. This is something you want to happen in game 1. If you're gonna get fought and beat like in this way, you want it to happen game 1, because it's one of those shocks to the systems. It's like getting the defibrillator straight to the heart of basically like, oh, this is what I need to fix for game 2. So I am excited to see what happens in that game too. But right now, they need to play. They need to get that level lead down in terms of, and they need to bring back some of that gold differential. And so, part of doing that right now, luckily they have Cupid at level 20. What they really need to do is start getting Vulcan not being level 17. Shock is level 16. At this point, Shock is almost going to be irrelevant for the rest of the game outside of burning beats. And that's just like the risk reward of playing Shock. You're basically saying mid to early game, Shock is going to be there to ruin your lives. But that's not what's happening. And right now we have 3 in mid, we have 1 in base and 1 in right, and there's 5 on the side of iFeed in that left lane. They're going to go straight down that left lane. And again, this is where there needs to be a little bit more shot calling on the side of VHS.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, Lucio. They have not looked very together in this set so far. I don't think we've seen Cupid with his team a single time in any of these fights. And, well, that's not necessarily bad as on him. It does show that this team isn't playing together, but now Robin's going in. Vulcan taking very low and finished up by Vile Artist in the air with the snipe. Stygian Torment comes down, does pull Geb all the way into the Phoenix, but that's not going to keep him there for long. Now Ram is still throwing those basics through the fight, and the siege is continuing. Shock goes in with the axe. Now Cerberus is jumping in as the apple does find its way onto Shock there. Man Hernandez does finally fall in the mid lane to Vile Artist, who's now turning his attention to this Phoenix. It's going to burn so quickly. Achilles finds a stun onto Cupid, but it's Zephyr that's going to be falling on the Shock now. Mojo jumping out with the Riptide. Now Cupid is trying to defend the Titan with her, but I don't think they can do it. There's so much damage. That's going to be game number 1, going the way of iFeed.
Yeah. That was a shot calling. That was a shot calling error through and through. Not Geb. Cerberus and Shock both like playing this push and pull of who's gonna try to go in and try to like aggress, but Shock pulls back at the last moment, but Cerb is already in, and they're able to pick off the Cerb and kind of snowball that into more fighting, essentially, into the more kills. And so, while I believe that Shock jungle can work, it just this wasn't the game for it. It did nothing. There no assists, no kills, and I mean, like, to be fair, the rest of the lineup not looking too hot either. But that really came down to that they weren't able to leverage what their comp is supposed to be the best at, which is that mid to early game, and they just weren't able to leverage that at all. In fact, they kind of just got demolished at every single stage of the game. So I'm expecting them game 2 to kind of talk about who's going to be the shot caller, because I think if they can fix that one issue, game 2 is going to be really, really close.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if they can get that sorted out and get themselves back together and on the same page, they have a much better shot at this game 2. But they also need to make sure they're putting wards down. As we see, there is a bit of a difference. Man Hernandez on the Cerberus only placing 2 throughout the entire 26-minute game. And if you turn your attention over to Herb and Cheese, sure, it's not that more at 7, but that's still 5 more wards. That's a lot of vision that VHS just didn't have. And that's what's going to allow you to have those shot calls for those objectives. So VHS needs to make sure they're on the ball with that. Keep vision on the map, know where iFeed is rotating to and when. And that way, even if they can't rotate to the same objective, they at least know where they are so they can maybe rotate to a different objective.
Absolutely. There's also another, like, that's definitely a good point, is like, good shot calling can make up for bad ward placement sometimes. And it works vice versa too. Great warding can make up for a lack of shot calling. Because shot calling also doesn't just only include, oh, let's go after this. It's, hey, Robin's in mid going left. Robin's in mid going right. But you can also get that information from looking at wards. So if they do both of those things and add wards and shot calling, I think game 2 they can really actually put up a really good fight against iFeed. And I expect that they have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder because, as far as I know, none of these players they are not playing to their best of their ability right now in this game one. That was not a good showcasing of who they are as a team and who they are as players. So I expect them to prove themselves in game two for sure.
Yeah. What would you expect to change maybe in the draft for them to kind of improve this second game here?
Go for a traditional jungler. The shock is a nice experiment, and like I said, I think shock can work. But if you're gonna draft shock, you're asking for a very specific type of identity. And if that's the identity you're going for, then you need to dedicate yourself to that. So that means you need to be doing these 4-man rotations early on, those 3-man rotations. But essentially what iFeed was doing. Go 4-man rotation. Shock is here. He's going to go ahead and drop his ult. That dude's silenced. Now, sir, Yamoja, do something, and now Cupid or Vulcan's going to kill him. And they weren't able to dedicate themselves to that. So then you need to pick a different type of jungler, one that falls more into line of what you want to do as a team. And sometimes that just happens. Like, there are moments where there's a meta, and you just don't play that meta really, really well. And so you are better off going for a team comp that fits your play style than going straight into a meta pick.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with all of that. And we saw it in the game. Shock was constantly behind Shadow Demon on the Raven. Zephyr was farming behind. He wasn't able to clear those camps as fast, so all of his rotations were going to be late. And if you're already in that position, then you are already going to have a really hard time making those plays that you want to make, those rotations with 3 or 4 people, because the other team is just already there before you. So getting a more traditional jungle, maybe increase that clear speed, increase the rotation speed, I think that will help them out quite a bit, relieve some of this pressure that Raven was able to put onto all these lanes, and maybe keep them alive in these fights.
That, or the other thing you can do is grab a safer mage. Because they were able to bully the mage out pretty early on. I think that Mr. Dr. Adam just the Cupid fell behind a little early, but he did what he was supposed to do, which was go ahead and take down structures in the meantime. And so I think in that regard, he can't be faulted too much because he did keep his team in the game. But having a safer mid, so that way when he does get ganked, he can actually get away from those ganks, would also really help if you are going to run a jungler with a slower rotation.
And now we are into picks and bans for game number 2. So let's see how VHS adapts to the second game after what iFeed has put down in the first one here. It's going to be VHS on the Chaos side and iFeed on the Order side this time around. So switching it up from the last game here, they have opted for second pick.
Yeah.
We see no bans coming out just yet, but it is Arachne who will finally be taken off the board first and foremost. Been a fairly prominent jungler in recent times, so not too surprising to see her taken out in this early stage here. Taking some time to think about each ban here as
I think
they're going to be remaking. I don't think they had enough bank time.
Yeah. I'm going to be right back.
As will the match lobby. So hold your horses, everyone. And while you wait, check out the Infernal Omen new Tsukuyomi skin. You can find that in the Necropolis Battle Pass. Looks pretty cool. It kind of reminds me of a Predator, but Tsukuyomi kind of doo-doo, in my opinion, as well. So maybe don't. Up to you, really. But while you're contemplating, you can also get rank 10 on Tsukuyomi very easily, as we have a triple Worshipper weekend right now. That's 3 times the Worshippers with each game played. Kind of a cheap way to cheat the system, but, you know, if rank matters to you, you should probably play ranked, but if God rank matters to you, well, 3x Worshipper weekend. Check it out. Also, really important to note, Zeus has a new skin in the Odyssey. And Zeus doesn't get skins very often because he's kind of doo-doo, but I really like Zeus, and I think it's a pretty cool skin, so you should also like Zeus and think it's a cool skin. And if we all like Zeus enough, maybe, just maybe, they'll finally pay some attention to him and give him some form of viability in this stupid game. Just go on Reddit and complain a lot. That's what everyone else does. That's what everyone does about every god, but nothing about Zeus. Zeus not being viable.
Zeus is completely viable right now. Hold on, wait a minute. Y'all, that buff to his attack speed. I'm telling you,
no.
y'all don't understand that 0.9 Zeus feels so good right now. You just whack away. You just boom, boom, boom.
Does he feel good when you've got 3 people on top of you in the mid lane?
That's why you have a man. Why are you playing him in the mid lane?
Were you playing him in the carry role?
Yeah, dude. Bro. Okay. All right. Hear me out. Overcharge. 30% damage increase per charge. You put 3 charges on that sucker. You're dealing double damage, basically.
But he doesn't have like an attack speed steroid or anything. He doesn't have good attack speed for the trades.
Hasten. Bro, I'm telling you, y'all don't understand the big brain move that Zeus ADC works in. You gotta get him a really safe support, somebody that can just peel like nobody's business and keep people still. Because I promise you, you hit those suckers with 3 basics, you hit your shield for like half their health, and then you hit them with some chain lightning, and then once they think they got away, you detonate.
Okay, but
that dude dead.
Consider this. Instead of needing 3 basics to get your full potential, how about just playing any regular hunter and doing the same thing with 1?
No, you don't understand the beauty that Zeus ADC is. Zeus ADC OP, dude. Zeus ADC
right, tell you what,
OP.
You bring it into the league, I'll catch the game.
Y'all bring it into the league?
Let's go.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if my team will ever let me do that.
No, you just gotta sell them on it. You just gotta sell them on it.
I tried to sell them on Agni ADC, and that also didn't work.
Well, that's a little bit harder of a sell. I mean, the basics really only affect his passive and his next spell cast, so Zeus should be an easier sell.
I'm telling you, Agni ADC also is the bomb. Anyway, we're back to picks and bans here between iFeed and VHS. Freya Bakasura Nemesis. I don't know if Bakasura needs a ban anymore, but Nemesis, sure.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised to see Bakasura banned away here, as we did see Shadow Demon on it just a couple nights ago, and man, he looked really good on it. He was tearing stuff up on that Bakasura, so I'm kind of surprised they maybe didn't want to get him on it this game. Try to get him on that death machine again. I do see Rom is banned away from Vile Artist. A little bit of respect being paid to the carry of iFeed this time around. And I can't say I'm too surprised. He was, I believe, 6-0 in the last game, on the mark with pretty much every single Astral Barrage in that game. And once again, Kokolin being taken off the board, so none of Urban Cheese's signature pick today.
Yeah, none of that. None of that today. So I wonder what their first pick is going to be.
Well, notably, Arachne still on the board as well. Persephone, Oleron also available, so maybe Vile Artist would like to look for that Oleron, pick himself a strong magical carry in that role, but he is going to be looking towards that Cupid, take that away from Mr. Dr. Adam, and that will be locked in. I mean, I like that decision. If you can't have the Rom, you might as well go for Cupid. He's, like we said in the first game, definitely one of the top hunters right now. So if you can get that for yourself after a strong showing on what may be considered a slightly weaker hunter, you might as well go for it and show everyone how it's done.
Yeah, I mean, Cupid, extremely strong, like, has a lot of potential. Barracuda's been playing his brains out on it for a while. So, I wouldn't. I'd love to Cupid now. Grabbing that Sobek Hui lane. If Sobek decides to go into the duo lane, that Cupid not in a good spot. He's basically gonna have to dash every single time. Now I will say Cupid does hard counter Hui because if you do charge up the heart bombs and you hit the Hui, he can't do anything. He goes into it as escape. If he doesn't leap as soon as he hits that 3, he gets stunned and comes back down where he was. And that does not feel good as Hou-Yi. So Cupid does play well into Hou-Yi like that, but not as well into that Sobek. Now, they do pick up Hera and Robin, so they're going to put him back on the Robin. I do like that, because Robin was pretty effective, and we get the Rat on the other side. What do you think?
I like both drafts so far. I don't like the Hou-Yi into the Cupid very much for reasons you mentioned, and also you're not going to get as much use out of the Hou-Yi passive against a Cupid. He's generally going to be building more power pen, not going into those crit builds, so you won't get that benefit from the Sun Touch of not being able to be crit more than once every 3 seconds, which just makes the Hou-Yi just that much weaker into this lane. I do like the flex potential from this Sobek and the Ratatosker quite a lot. Sobek could be support or solo. Ratatosker could be support, solo, or jungle. So it's definitely going to keep iFeed on their toes with this next round of bans. And predictably, they will be going towards the Merlin, banning out some of these mid picks, as they have already selected Hera for their own mage.
Yeah. I mean, I do like Hera as a mage right now. I think that she's really good. A lot of people don't know how to play against her, so that's really nice. And Argus is just like, hey, you're trying to basic me? No. But I do like Hera a lot. Also another god that can go in the ADC world. Just saying.
Lucio, I think you have a problem with mages and carries. So
I only have solutions.
Yeah, I do like Hera though quite a bit, mostly in the mid lane. Not super sure about the carry role, but maybe they'll throw it over there, give us a little switch up with Hera going carry, Cupid going mid. It's possible, I suppose.
No, I don't think they'll do that. I'm telling you though, Hera as an ADC can work because you get Argus like all the time, because her passive also reduces the cooldown on Argus based off of basics.
You already get Argus all the time.
Yeah, but you get all the time, and you get Divine Shroud all the time too, and that's actually kind of OP on Hera.
All right, you're starting to sound like the Tobias of the carry role. I want you to know that.
Look, all I have to say is that I take inspiration from people who play things that aren't normal in their roles. Tobias, you did not invent it.
Yeah. Okay, we need to take away Tobias's typing privileges. I don't have the power to do that. He's an admin. I am not. But we do see Amaterasu being picked up by VHS. So still slight flex potential, honestly. We could see an Ama support. It's possible.
It is.
I think it's more likely to be solo lane.
Yeah, I think she played. This is actually kind of really gross here. The Mr. Dr. Autumn's team is able to draft a pretty strong draft, especially after that Poseidon pickup. That is pretty daggone strong because Poseidon's pretty much faster than Argus all the time. Poseidon can kill a lot of things. Hui, Suns, Ama, one of the best solo laners in the game. If you're not going to get Cthulhu, you might as well get Amaterasu. So definitely going to be interesting because they both really drafted strong. Because Khepri, Nike, Hera, Cupid, Robin. I mean, everybody knows about big Khepri energy. So we'll see if that carries through the rest of the game.
Yeah, I do really like this Khepri. I mean, VHS already had problems killing iFeed in game number 1. So how can we make that problem even worse? Well, slap a Khepri onto the team. Now, if they do manage to find a kill, they're going to have to find it twice. Now,
Yeah.
I do really like what VHS has drafted once again. I think we're both in agreement there. I kind of prefer their draft here. They've got, once again, great objective control, but they need to actually be on those objectives, and they need to be there as a team, not as two people separated from each other and then a third one runs in a little bit later. They have to make sure they act as a unit and use what they've drafted to its fullest potential.
For sure, and I think that's the only issue I have right now is that Hui again suffers a lot to Cupid. He suffers a little bit too much for me, and so the dual lane already had a little bit of issues in the last game, so I would have preferred a better matchup, especially if they're gonna pick a Sobek, then pick Uller, pick somebody else. At least Uller will get you out of the situation. But Hui, again, if he gets stunned while he's trying to dive bomb, he's stuck. That's it.
Yeah, and with a Sobek as his support, he doesn't have a lot of peel. They've pretty much just got aggression in that lane, and that means they have to be careful at the beginning, and they cannot give iFeed too much ground. If they give iFeed an edge in this lane, they will lose pretty much all their kill potential. Well, what little they have with this Hui into Cupid, which is, as we said, very difficult as it is. However, Poseidon should be able to out-rotate this Hera, maybe able to give them an advantage over there, can rotate in, alleviate some pressure, maybe turn a fight in their favor.
I mean, again, I think one of the things that Hui does have going for him is that Hui doesn't have to worry too much about the Cupid if he makes it into the late game. Because then he's not fighting Cupid. He's fighting the rest of the team. And Hui, not really super well known for his team fight capability, but there's one thing that Hui has that Cupid doesn't, and that's versatility. Hui can build ability damage, he can build crit, he can build pen, he can build whatever his team needs him to build in the moment and not lose too much viability. And Cupid can't really do the same thing. Cupid should be building a certain type of way. Barracuda goes the Transcendence route. Currently, we have the Devourers route, but those tend to be the two types of things. And like you said, he doesn't really build a crit. So, luckily for Hui does have that versatility. So again, during the early laning phase, I assume, and I'm going to say that Mr. Dr. Adam's going to have a lot of trouble early game in that lane. But if he can kind of weather the storm and try to get into that mid to late game, he'll be doing fine. And as we embark on our tour of the Smite map that won't exist much longer, wow, that looks like Elmo, but like not.
I'm not sure if that's the face I saw, but I suppose it's certainly a face you could see if you're someone who likes to play Zeus, Hera, and Agni in the carry role.
Just wait one day. I'm gonna show it to you.
I look forward to that day. I eagerly await it with bated breath and hope I'm casting it when you do it in a league game.
Man, I'll be using it against you. I'll go into the team. We will have our match, and I'll get Hera ADC.
We already had our match, Lucio.
We'll have another one. I'll scrim you.
There we go. It'll happen.
I'll do it in scrims. I really don't care about scrims. I'll just go in or whatever.
But now that we see Zephyr, a more traditional assassin here, Lucio, do you think we'll see maybe an improvement in these rotations in this mid 3v3? Maybe not having iFeeds with so much pressure in this early game?
I think I think that's inevitable. I mean, you do have the whole through the branches. I mean, you got through the Cosmos going in there. So I mean, I feel like you have to out-rotate Robin. If you don't, I feel like you're not using through the Cosmos. But now, I do want to talk about a little bit about Amaterasu now. Is actually not in the solo lane. Decides to opt instead for Important support Amaterasu, and I'm not sold on it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not sold on it.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it. I mean, we touched on the possibility of it earlier. I mean, she does have some decent damage in that role. She's got good utility with the silence. And then once she hits 5, they do have quite a bit of kill potential there. But she's also kind of susceptible to early poke, as we see she started with the 3, the dash. And she has to walk through around the entire wave, taking basics, before she's able to turn the aggression onto the wave there.
Yeah, I mean that's a tough start. And again, like I'm just not sure. Like if Khepri plucks her, she's kind of not in a good spot. I mean, I really don't like the Ama here into this support lane. I don't know if she provides enough. Her ultimate does help against Field of Love, but again, if that's what you're worried about as a support, I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. We'll have to see how it pans out in the mid game because that's when you'll really see it kind of come into play.
And we see the Oracles have been taken by Robin now as Ratatosk is looking to that left lane, trying to maybe find a way to alleviate some of the pressure, but not able to find too much there. Now Robin has secured himself a slight lead in XP. Khepri might be looking for the grab there, does find the root, finds the pluck now. Ama could be in a bad spot. Here comes Hu Yi, putting the mark down onto Cupid just to try to push him off there and make sure he can't get too aggressive. Now Nike is the one in a little bit of a rough spot, has to jump away from the Sobek. He does have a pretty decent matchup into this Nike, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, Sobek also one of the best solo laners in the game for being a Guardian.
Ooh, that's
Ama again getting pulled and body blocked by the minions. That's just big sad moments.
Now, very
Sobek outtrades pretty much any solo laner except for maybe Cthulhu. Like he'll outtrade. Now Robin's gonna come in for a sneaky little thing. Okay, we get a little bit of a leap. Now they're blocking his ability to dash out. Now they're knocking him into tower. He's gonna go ahead and try to get out if he can. Rat is a little bit too late. Again, that is the difference of a rotation that's on time and one that's not. That's just really unfortunate.
That was great teamwork from the two there as well. You saw Shadow Demon standing directly in front of Man Hernandez there, making sure he couldn't just try to dash out. If he tried it, he was just going to hit Shadow Demon, pluck him backwards behind him, and not go anywhere. And now we see some aggression onto Ama. Does get stunned out by Hu Yi there, so no pluck just yet. But turn our attention back to this herb and cheese. That barrier was just perfect. Prevented Man Hernandez from stepping up at all. Continuously pushed him back. Got him into the tower to take a shot. Unfortunately, not finding the second shot there. Now it's a little bit of a fight over this Totem of Ku here. Sobek not worried too much as he does have that sustain. And quite a bit of damage to be slapping at this Nike. Does manage to force her off there. Now Hu Yi bees are used. Fields of Love were used well, but Vile Artist is going to be securing that kill onto Mr. Dr. Adam.
And that's again that power of that Cupid into the Hou Yi matchup. It's just really, it's not a good feeling as a Hou Yi. And so, I'm not, again, I think that also comes down to you have Ama in the support, and that's not really feeling great either. Now Robin looking for a little bit of aggression on Poseidon. Poseidon's gonna go ahead and drop his ultimate, but Robin's gonna jump out of that and mute most of it. Gonna take some damage from the Whirlpool. He's gonna exit stage right with full health. Oh, not full health, with a little mediocre amount of health. Now Ama's gonna go ahead and Dazzling Offensive, but Khepri. But Argus already did the damage onto Poseidon, and they'll go ahead and take another kill.
I think there's a little bit of a mistake there for Starter to step up after surviving that dive from Shadow Demon there. He already used his Aegis, he used his ultimate. There was no reason for him to step forward there, and he just got punished so hard for it. Ultimate used from Amaterasu and an ultimate from Hera just secures the kill, and ultimately VHS comes out of this looking quite rough. see some more aggression turned on to Cupid. I'm sorry, Hu Yi. The ultimates come from both ends here. Hu Yi very low, but it is going to be him falling down as Cupid just barely able to survive. And we see the difference in ultimates there. The Mesmerize and the Heart Bomb from Cupid was able to lock Hu Yi down. And Cupid was able to step out of those suns, avoid taking the rest of the damage. And that was just lights out. But now Khepri going on to Amaterasu there. Not able to find anything just yet as he was stopped by the Whirlpool from Poseidon. Polymorph is coming out. Does not quite find too much. Does, however, find... Oh, I'm sorry. That was Ratatosker. That's how he always looks. I'm sorry.
That's how he always... No, but going back to the Hu Yi Cupid matchup, you can't fight Cupid if you don't have beats. There's no point. Like, he's gonna ult, you're gonna get hit by the stun, and that was really what the difference was stun. Hu Yi would have won that if it wasn't for the fact that he got stunned out. Like, even the Mesmerize, if he could beat one part, he would have won that fight.
Yeah, they were both pretty much one hit away from dying. Like you said, it was really the CC coming from Cupid that did Hu Yi in. Now we're seeing some aggression coming out. Ultimate from Robin on a root. Kraken comes down, but it's immediately immune by the backflip. Shadow Demon finds the kill onto starter 1995. Now Nike looking for an invade, not able to find it over there as it's already secured by VHS. And now it's Mega Dinosaur that's also falling to Hera, an actual lemur, able to defeat a dino. You wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, this is just getting out of hand now. Again, we're seeing some of the same problems that we saw in Game 1, where shot calling is not really working out for them. Nice double bounce to get that. Gotta go ahead and ult. But with Cupid Dash, like, again, you're just not gonna get as much viability out of that Hu Yi against the Cupid. But no, what we're seeing out of VHS is some similar things from Game 1. Rotations are slow or non-existent. And even when they don't work out in favor, they still try to force a fight. You can't force a fight when it's 6-0 and there's a 3K gold lead 8 minutes in. Last game, this was a K. This was only a 1,000 gold lead at this amount of time. And so, again, I think that you just need to play things a little bit safer, a little bit calmer. You need to breathe. You need to say, hey, we make it to the late game. We have a little bit more presence. And just a little bit, because honestly, Hera does scale really, really well into the late game. So right now, things are looking pretty dire for VHS. Because they should be looking at ganking this Cupid. But instead, what they're looking at is Hu Yi getting ganked on. And I honestly don't think Rat has ganked anybody yet.
And that is just an instantly dead Adam. They're just splitting that one right down the middle. But now they could be getting collapsed on, but we do see a pause before this happens, giving Robin and Cupid a little bit of time to think about how they're going to find their way out of this one.
No, I'm going to tell you right now, Robin and Cupid not only win this, but take a kill.
I wouldn't be surprised if you look at where Mega Dinosaur is right now. He is heading back to the lane. This is a 2v2, essentially. Ratatosker a little ways away still.
Yeah,
and there was a Poseidon right in front of them. And he's already squishy. Kraken comes down, does find some good damage. He finds a double kill, and that is a great turnaround for starter 1995. But here comes Argus, looking for more. Aegis comes down from Poseidon. Now Dazzling Offensive comes out, and Poseidon is managed to find his way out of this big stun coming from Amaterasu. Now Hera could be in some trouble, but she still has Argus. Aegis is popped. Now Ratatosker going up into Yggdrasil. Can he find a kill on the way down? No! Actual Lemur finds Zeftar instead with Argus, and Khepri, bargain price, finds a big revive. And that is not one you'd find in the bargain bin, Lucio.
No, that's some big boy plays right there. Big Khepri energy in that moment.
Khepri energy.
Bring back Hera. And that's a good trust from Hera to basically say, hey, I know I'm going to die here. I'm just going to go ahead and output as much damage as possible. Khepri, please revive me. Please revive me. But I know things happen relatively rapidly, but I do want to give credit where credit is due that Starter was able to find that double kill. Well-placed ultimate, well-timed ultimate to bring down Cupid and Robin. And those are significant kills to get, because before that, Cupid had 3 kills, no deaths, and Robin had 2 kills, no deaths. So that really does help, kind of brings back some of that momentum. Now, Cupid again fighting that. Who you going ahead and go grab the kill?
That's what we like to see, but now Ratatoskr in some trouble. Kraken comes out to peel off the aggression as well as the tide and pushing Robin back, and that is great team play now. VHS is looking like they're cleaning themselves up a little bit here.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like now they're getting a little bit more shot calls. They're communicating a little bit better on comms, that they're coordinating what they want. Dazzling Offensive going to go ahead and look for this Hera, but Poseidon looking the wrong way. Argus is going to come down. Shadow Demon's going to go ahead and drop the Poseidon. Ama's going to go ahead and trade out the Hera, but Robin's out looking for Amaterasu. Kemper's making his rotation over. Going to go ahead and root him. Going to grab him, and then that's just going to be the collapse right there to bring Mega Dinosaur down.
That was a real onslaught of prana coming out of that Robin there. Good pluck from Sobek Nike off that totem, but it was a good call, I'd say, on that invade. They had the position for it, they had the damage for it, they just split it a bit too much there. Poseidon went on the Robin, Ama went on the Hera. They didn't find either right away. And now we see a gank coming down onto Nike. Zephyr trying to get some aggression over here. She's being taken very low, but does still have that jump, able to get out as the Sobek is looking under the waters. Now here's Shadow Demon, maybe looking to turn things around. Big Root comes down, big damage. He is able to get himself out with a dash, but here's Khepri, big Khepri energy coming through with the big pluck, and that's going to be Urban Cheese finding the kill with the Rend.
And I'm not going to lie, I don't like VHS's rotations when that happened. They're rotating over, but the fight is done. Don't rotate. Farm. Take advantage of the fact that there's 3 people in right lane. Heck, 4, because Hera was also rotating. Just let it go. Like, if they 4-man aggress into your tower, that gives you so much pressure on the map this early on. And so I don't think they need to be as eager to move up into those into those rotations. Like, if they're already behind on the rotations, let the one person die and then find some pressure elsewhere. Who are you looking for is Cupid. But now we're talking about rotation. Ooh. That's going to be a 3-man rotation onto Mr. Dr. Adam, and he will go down. And so that begs the question, where's the support for this dual lane? Like, not support as in, like, Ama, but we've seen iFeed rotate to this dual lane several times for ganks, for objective secure, yet we have not seen the same from VHS. They've kind of left him on an island.
Yeah, he's definitely been getting quite a bit of pressure put on him. We did see one rotation, well, I guess we saw 1.5 rotations. One attempted that was called off very quickly, and then one that was just too late to actually help the Huyi. Did result in a double kill, but they're going to have to do something different because they can't have their carry player falling this far behind, especially when it's not even entirely his fault. He's got a losing matchup as it is, and then with all the pressure from this Robin, this Khepri, this Hera, there's just not a lot he can do other than sit in his tower, but Robin's already shown he's more than willing to dive into those towers.
Yeah, and you also got to think about where objective placement was. You kind of need to put pressure on the left side of the map, which is exactly what iFeed was able to do to secure Gold Fury. You want to get Gold Fury, you want to make that easy. And also credit to Mr. Dr. Adam. He's in a losing matchup, and he's been able to bring them very, very closely. Now, Sentinel of Zeus did come out of the Nike, the big ultimate catch 3, but Kraken is going to go ahead and come out. Not enough to secure that Pyromancer, but now the VHS is bringing a fight to them as we see 2 big ultimates. Khepri's going to ult himself with that big Khepri energy, going to dash away. Now this team is a little bit split up on target priority. Robin's going to go ahead and find the Poseidon, landing straight through with that mystic rush of energy and death. The pluck isn't going to come out in time before Robin's able to blink away. And now we're again seeing them fall into kind of the same habits. They split up on target priority and let Robin do whatever he wanted on the back line. And he's out. He's going to go ahead and do this red invade. Amma should not be taking this fight. She's 4 levels below this guy. He is going to bring her down. She dashed in, so she's for sure dead to something here. Hera's going to go ahead and polymorph her into non-existence.
Just a little bit sloppy from VHS, and now Zeftar also going down to Robin. And iFeed is just not relenting at all. They know they have the advantage. They're not afraid to push it at all in any way. Every time VHS has what looks to be a good fight, like you said, they split up, they don't go on the same target, and they just get punished for it so hard. Now Kraken comes out, but the backflip is already in animation, and he is not able to find anything on that Robin there.
Yeah, I don't even know if that was a worthy Kraken. You weren't going to kill him. I mean, to be fair, his Kraken will be back probably by the time they fight again. So it's not completely wasted, but at the same time, if he can press 2 to your 4, that doesn't feel good.
He did manage to secure the speed buff for Zeftar there, so that's a small win.
No, it actually dropped. It dropped for iFeed. It was a
lot of danger again.
So he wasn't even able to secure the speed buff.
No, Zeftar has it. He's got it on him right now.
Oh, does he? Oh, shoot.
And we're going to see a pause to admire it.
to admire my mistake. I'm honest, I could have sworn I saw it drop for them. Are we not sure that Rat didn't take the other one? You know what? I'm on crack. Let's just ignore it. I'm on crack at this point.
I do want to go back to Mr. Dr. Adam, though. As you were saying, credit where credit is due. He's been taking, like you said, Cupid very low. He even found himself a solo kill onto Cupid there. So it's not like Mr. Dr. Adam doesn't have the kill potential, right? It's not like he's just not performing. It's just that he doesn't have any opportunity to really get into this game to have the impact he needs. The way iFeed is pressuring him just does not allow him to get into any good spot here. He's not able to rotate out of the lane into these team fights to impact those. But then iFeed is also winning team fights, so he's not able to push the lane either because Cupid is still there.
Yep. And I mean, this comes out to a situation where you said that they were playing a little sloppily, but I'll go out and be frank about it and say, no, this is completely sloppy. Like, they are not... It doesn't look like VHS is coming in with a game plan. I'm not sure what they're playing for, and I'm not sure who they're playing. Like, again, why is Amma even stepping up? Like, why are they positioning? Why is Sylvek where he is? I mean, again, what are
big Kepri energy?
what are you fighting for? Lurk in the Waters comes out, but what for? And so you've got to be looking for something or someone.
Big heart bomb comes down, but no stun on it, so he's not dead just yet. There is a fight breaking out on this side of the jungle. Kepri has found Amaterasu. Kraken comes down, but she's still so low, and Nike is still on top of her, and this will be an Amaterasu falling. Robin is still here as well, and there will be Oni Fury coming up relatively soon. Sobek goes in, but I'm not sure what he was looking for there. Kepri not able to find the puck to pull him back in, but it's not going to matter as he will be falling. Fields of Love come down. Urban Cheese also with the up down, going to find that kill. Now he's on Hu Yi, pressuring him out. Hu Yi can do nothing but run away back to his Poseidon, trying to regroup. And Zeftar all the way on the other side of the map doing a back camp, not where he needs to be right now at all. And now the Oni Fury will be looked at by iFeed, and I can only imagine shortly after this, they're going to rotate to that Fire Giant with the pressure from these Oni waves.
Again, it just looks like VHS doesn't have a game plan. Like, they're playing Smite, but they're not playing to win, in a sense. That's what it looks like. From the outsider's perspective, things might be different on the ground floor, but from a casting desk, again, they haven't fought for any objectives. They haven't been able to coordinate a team fight in their favor. They haven't been able to farm the map effectively. And they've done nothing to stop iFeed's dominance in that. In reality, this is iFeed's game to lose, and they've shown it. Rat is 4 levels down on Robin. I mean, Hu Yi and Cupid luckily are even. Again, credit where credit's due. Mr. Dr. Adam holding on for dear life. And this is not about, like, just... It's not... iFeed's just capitalizing on every mistake that VHS makes. And... I think that VHS can still pull out this game, but they really need to start working on the shot calling now.
Yeah, and I think the damage numbers actually tell a very telling story here, right? There's a huge lead. There's 17 kills on the board, but the top player damage in the game is only 9,000, right? It's less than 10k. And that's just because iFeed is coordinating their damage so well. They're on the same target. They're taking them out quickly, and they're moving on to the next one. They're not having these long, drawn-out fights where they're just spreading damage around. They're focused, they're blowing someone up, and then they're moving to an objective, and they're taking that. And now we see Amaterasu caught by Khepri. Sobek comes in to pluck the Khepri away to try to peel for this Ama. Very nicely done. Does manage to buy her some space, but now she's walking back in. Sobek's still on Robin, trying to pressure him out. Now he's grabbed by Khepri himself and wanted to pluck that one away. Now Ama's getting rooted. Nike is on the back end, jumps through. Doesn't find the Ama. Now Kraken comes down, does a lot of damage on Robin, but there's a bigger ult from Khepri to pull him right on back to safety. Dude, the Cosmos is coming through. Vile Artist has found Mega Dinosaur now. The Suns are coming down. They're crashing into the enemy team, but that's not going to be enough. Now Argus is coming down onto Man Fernandez. Vile Artist with the double kill, and the aggression is going to continue on. They're looking for more, maybe a mid Phoenix here. Now, we have seen VHS pull back to the mid lane. They've gotten themselves out of the fight. But now iFeed has recognized it, and where are they going but to this fire giant pit?
And so the question needs to be asked: why was Sobek still there? Like, his team had already peeled off. Again, that's his shot calling, and the idea is that the reason I'm being so critical before I make a lot of enemies in this league is because I want to see if teams get better, and it does me no use to be like, oh, that was just unlucky. It does nobody any good. They'd be like, oh man, that just sucks. No, that like, if you want to win these games, you gotta play like you want to win them. And iFeed has shown that they're playing like they want to win this game. And they've shown it the entirety of this game. They are coordinating their fights. They are doing their objectives. They have planned a draft. Like, their picks all cohesively work together. They are putting farm where they need to put farm. They put it through Robin, Hera, and Cupid, and all of the lanes have seen support from the team as a whole because they're able again to say, "Hey, I need help in this left lane. I need help in this right lane," and they listen to those calls.
We see that he's just trying to get some pressure onto that left lane there, but Mystic Rush comes through, chasing Hu Yi down. A big backflip and moves the last shot of Dazzling Offensive. The Suns come down, but they're not going to be enough to stop the Shadows. He does find that kill as Actual Lemur finds another kill onto Mega Dinosaur. Now they're in mid lane trying to push it down, but they're risking a Phoenix here, Lucio.
I mean, look, there's 5 people in left on side of iFeed. There's 2 for VHS, there's 2 in mid, and there's 1 in the solo lane. We're 20 minutes into the game. The laning phase is over.
Not until
that's a big
falls.
That is such a big ult from this Poseidon, but he has nobody there to help him. He has nobody there to help him. He's just solo. He's 1v5. I mean, Poseidon and Hu Yi are doing the most that they can to keep their team into this game. They're doing everything they can to keep their team into this game. But they need to do a little bit more, and they need to start yelling into the comms. They need to start coordinating with their team, something. Because they all individually have shown throughout this 2-game set, I mean, between these 2 games that we've had this set, that individually they do have moments where it's like, man, these are really good players. They now need to coordinate that as a team.
Yeah, and I think that is really what it boils down to, is iFeed just has the coordination, and VHS is not really playing as a team here. They're playing as 5 players rather than 1 unit.
They're playing as 5 people in a ranked game. That's what they're doing. like they have their moments where like, man, it feels like they really just stuck it through. But since they're not coordinating against a team that is coordinated, those little flashes of greatness do nothing for the grand scheme of things. We're still sitting at 21 to 4 kills, 3 towers up for iFeed, all 3 Phoenixes, 2 Phoenixes up for VHS, and 1 tower up. Like, that's the true story. That's the facts. That has nothing to do with the storyline or anything. That has everything to do with, that's the difference between these two teams right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone can disagree. I mean, that's the simple truth of the matter. I do want to commend Mr. Dr. Adam for keeping up in levels as well as he had so far. I think that's
he has absolutely tremendous
no small
play
feat there. But unfortunately, that's not enough. You need more. You need more teamwork, and now he's caught out here, has to jump away. Now Mystic Rush comes down, half his health just gone. Herb and Cheese credited with that kill, and the rest of his team is nowhere in sight. They are on the right side of the map. Now 2 have rotated back in. Through the Cosmos comes out, but in the middle of the enemy team. Kraken hits a 4-man knock up there, as Ratatosker comes down as well. Heart Bomb comes through, Kepri plucked back, but Poseidon's on his own with his Herb and Cheese Nike. Vile Art is now taking out Man Hernandez and Mega Dino. That's a double kill. Ratatosker, the last one left alive. First one in, first one out, it would appear. And now he's the first one back in. Big revive coming from Kepri to save Hera's life. An actual lemur will not be dying today. Shadow Demon will be killing an actual squirrel, though. And now it looks like the Titan will be falling for the second time in this match.
And that's just unfortunate. I mean, again, I do think that VHS, their players individually have a lot of skill, but they really need to coordinate. Like, it's like you saw, Huyi, mid lane. Where's the rest of his team? In the right jungle. Doing what? I don't know. That you lose games that way. That's what lost them that. They had nobody to defend. And then when they did defend, they did a half defense where half of them were being really aggressive and pushing them back. And then the other half was right underneath the Phoenix. And then they died for it. I do think that VHS, they spend a little bit of, if they spend a little bit of time on VOD review and spend a little bit of time deciding on who's shot calling, I think that this team can come back and give iFeed not only a run for their money, but I definitely think that with a player like Mr. Dr. Adam, with a player like Starter, they can definitely take a 2-0 set themselves.
Yeah, I mean, these are things that should be fairly easy to clean up. Shot calls, objective control, they're big things, right? You can find the flaws in them very easily, and you can figure out what you need to improve and work on that. So it's not like VHS has this insurmountable wall they're up against. They should very easily be able to improve from here. Now, we will be having an interview from none other than iFeed's jungler, Shadow Demon, who has a standout performance on this Robin tonight. In just a few short moments here, Mr. Lucio will be leading that interview for us tonight.
I've been volunteered.
Yes, you have.
I'll have questions. I promised. Oh boy. Hey,
what
Shadow.
up?
How you doing?
I'm doing good, man.
You feeling good after a 2-0 set?
Yes, sir.
Gotta feel real good. All right, so thank you for joining us here at the casting desk for a little bit of an interview, a post-game interview. So, I just want to ask you, do you play Robin? Like, is that somebody who you play? Because it looked like you played him.
Yeah, I played Robin way back when he was still a warrior, way before they switched into an assassin.
Oh, that's a long time ago. That's the olden days.
Yep.
Were you surprised after game one with you playing that Robin the way you did? Were you surprised to pick up that game 2 Robin?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, usually when someone does good on certain god, you want to try to ban them out just so you force them to pick something else up. But if they let us get it, then hey, we're going to take it.
That is fair. Did you guys... So, in talking about both of your drafts, did you guys come in and outside of course game 2 where you just pick up the Robin because it's there, but did you guys come in with like a draft identity, what you wanted to draft around, and what you were trying to achieve with your draft?
Yeah, so unlike our previous game against questionable plays, our coach was here, talk us through our draft, get our ideas, and you know, give us a clear idea on what we want to do in the game. So we pretty much say, well, we want to focus around our mid and our early pressure. So we said, let's just draft a team that lets us do that.
Yeah, no, that really worked out for you guys. I saw that one of the things to know from your play style is that around that mid game, you first start grouping up as 3, and it's kind of like an amoeba. You start absorbing the rest of your team into your rotations. You grab your solo, and now you're a 4-man rotation anywhere you want to go and stuff like that. So what were the comms like? How do you guys coordinate those shot calls for those rotations?
Honestly, first we'll start off with our mid. We always have our mid and our support stay together. And then we say, okay, what do we have vision on? Where's everybody else at? Where's the enemy team at? And then from there, we'll always try to get at least a pick on the enemy team, at least get one person down. And then from there, we see what we're close to and see what we can get. So, like, we killed the Hoi Yi, and we're like, you know what? Let's just run it down left since no one else is by us.
No, that's really true. I'm gonna rewind it back a little bit and talk about game 1. It did look like VHS was able to pull a stronger draft together on paper than you were. Were you guys a little bit worried about that going into game 1?
Honestly, no. What I like to tell the team is that we should just focus on how the way we play and the way we want to play. And not get too focused or absorbed on what the other team plays, how they play, what they pick up. So I think we just like to stay focused on what we got.
Yeah. I also, a little bit of a fun question. Are you guys believers of the big Khepri energy? Is that why you drafted Khepri game 2?
Honestly, to be honest with you, I didn't know our support played Khepri this well. Shout out to Bargain. She really saved us that game. Honestly, she's the MVP of this whole set, in our opinion. She was saving us constantly on this Khepri and also on the Geb. She kept saving my life. At least I know that for sure. So
yeah, no, she had some really, really devastating cataclysms in game 1 and absolutely morally devastating Khepri revives. Like, I know if I was in VHS's team, I'd be tilted. There was some like split-second revives that Bargain was able to pull off, so credit to her. So, I mean, I think that does it for my questions. Spooky, do you have any questions you want to ask?
I think that just about wraps us up tonight. Shadow, thank you for joining us here on the cast for that interview, and thank you for the very impressive set you guys have put together. Thank you, VHS, as well, for putting on a spectacular performance. We will be live once again tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern. This will be Dynamite versus Dr. Phil, so please join us there as well. For now, have a great night.